Well, welcome back to another episode of Hot Takes with Kari and Keelan. This is episode number 10, and we are back from taking a week off from the holiday. I'm Kari Rae Davis with Kari Sells City.
And I'm Keelan Harvey with the Harvey Home Team and Highlands Residential.
Well, Keelan, I'm excited to be back again after the holiday break, and I want to jump right into there are some new news with the conforming loan limits. And then another thing I want to talk about this week is how to build your credit and what to do if you don't have any credit. So let's go ahead and start off with those new conforming loan limits that we've learned about.
Yeah, that's exciting. We knew it was coming, and we started actually doing higher conforming loan limits a little early, but it's officially announced that the single family conforming loan limits were increased and from 726,200 to 766,500. So,
Okay.
that really helps now in King, Pierce, and Snohomish County. We have high balance. We won't get into that. But for those places, we have this little cushion before you jump into jumbo loans in those three counties. Everywhere else doesn't have that. So this is huge. I mean, for all of us, because conforming loan limits are really the most lenient when it comes to guidelines. So once you get into jumbo, now it's up to the jumbo investors to decide what they need from you as far as requirements. So it fits a lot more people in a bucket, which will be more price friendly, more and quite frankly, more lenient as far as getting into loans. So it's going to help a lot of people.
So it just means basically that if you're in that 700 price range, it raised about $400,000. Is that about right?
No, about
40,000.
40,000. Yeah, so 726
Okay.
to 766. But
Okay.
and it did last year too. So as homes appreciate, they got to do something about it. There's more people
Right.
fitting into these buckets, so they got to increase these loan limits and again this year. So it's good news for everybody.
That is good news.
Yeah.
And then I want to talk about building credit for people because, the holidays are happening. Everybody's, buying presents for Christmas. So it might be good to talk about what to do to help build your credit and also to help fix your credit due to holiday shopping and holiday spending. But if you are in the market for a home, what to do to plan to make sure that you're keeping your credit in good standing or creating good credit in order to be able to buy.
Yeah, I love this topic because a lot of people don't realize if you have somebody like myself, a certified mortgage advisor, it includes a one-stop shop, including credit help. And that's huge for a lot of people. We got to make sure that you're in the best position possible to purchase a home. And I'm more than happy to help anybody with your credit. And, we might be in a position that'll take a year, but we got to build through it. We got to do what we need to do. So, I think talking about some of the misnomers and one of the biggest ones that I see, one of the biggest problems that I see on people's credit is carrying balances on credit cards. And
Okay.
me included for the longest, even in my beginning career as a financial advisor, I didn't even know how credit cards worked. I had a credit card, two credit cards, and I charge them up every month and pay them off because I got to get all my points, right?
Right. Well, that's
And
what I was doing as well for my business expenses. So I was in the same
yeah,
boat when I bought. So
that's what we're taught, right? You just charge them up, and it's like I want to get
you
all
want
my
those
points, and then
points.
yeah, get those points and make it count, and like it, at the and then but I pay it off at the end of the month. I'm good to go, and that's really not the case. I come to find out that one of my credit cards is due on like the 5th, and the other one was like the 20th.
Okay.
So what I was actually doing was I was charging my credit card by the 20th of the month. That thing's maxed out.
Right.
And so they report to the creditors at different times. It's not like they even know. So one would report to the creditors, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian on the 5th, one on the 20th. So like they would report to the creditors with my credit showing way above 30%. There's a magic number. You want your credit card balances below 30%, ideally below 10, but if you can get below 30%, that's going to significantly improve your credit. So just fundamentally, I'm thinking I'm doing the right thing, and most people think the same thing. I'm charging everything on my credit card
Pay
and
it
doing
off.
the right thing, and it reports, and I'm actually damaging my credit because when it reports, I'm showing my credit as card darn near maxed out. So the point is, one of the best pieces of advice I can give people is if you have credit cards, call those companies. And they're weird about it. Like they're almost scandalous about it. Like I've had to call back and talk to like multiple representatives because they don't even know. The question is, when do you guys report to the creditors? find those dates for every credit card you have. And then now, instead of the 1st through the 30th, think about from credit reporting to credit reporting. So that one of my credit cards was the 5th to the 5th, the other one's the 20th to 20th. I'd pay them down by like a couple days before, doesn't matter, 2, 3 days before. Now, boom, credit score is reporting positively every month, just in a little shift of having a little bit of information.
Well, and it's just your perspective too, like knowing when the credit reports are being sent to those credit, bureaus. I mean, that's what helped me. I mean, I think when it was time for me to buy last year, you and I went through this whole process together, and I realized I was doing the same thing, where I was paying my credit card off every balance due, but I was showing that I was using most of my credit. So it took me, I think, 2 to 3 months of consistently paying attention to knowing when I needed to have those bills paid. And that, it was magic almost. I mean, it improved my credit score dramatically. So I think that's a great tip for everybody to know about.
Yeah, I mean, I think most people don't know that. I didn't know about that forever. I mean,
Right.
no, most people don't know about that. Another thing too is often if you leave a little balance, that can actually improve. So sometimes when we do what's called a rapid rescore, so I can actually have the ability to pull people's credit and then see what we can do to get their score up. We'll force that through by submitting to the TransUnion, Equifax, and Experience through our credit company, which automatically validates a new score. So
Okay.
I always look for those opportunities. And some scenarios, they'll say leave $5 on it or $1 on it, because if you pay it to zero, it doesn't have the same impact. So,
Right.
so by rule of thumb, I usually pay mine down to like $5, because if your credit card's 20%, I mean, it's just $5. Who cares, right?
You
So
just have to make sure you keep paying that off to maybe don't forget
yeah,
that you've got that $5.
yeah.
How often are there any sort of requirements for a rapid rescore? Because I know that you and I have discussed this when we're working with clients and we're trying to get their credit score to improve. What are the steps that you need to do in order to do a rapid rescore with a client?
So from the day I pull credit, we have 30 days to do the
Okay.
rapid rescore. But regardless of what I'm telling you to do, even if we exceed that 30 days, that 30 days just for me to push it through to the creditors,
Okay.
because they report every 30 days. So
Right.
if we didn't get into a transaction within that time frame, it wouldn't really matter. It's still going to do the same magic to your credit score. So,
Okay.
from that point forward, once you take these steps and we do what's necessary, boom, you're good to
It's
go. Your credit
improved.
score is going to jump up and it's going to stay there.
Right.
Granted that you continue to keep your credit in that same standing.
Right. Or if you also continue to keep your credit cards below the 30% thresholds. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I love my points. I'm not saying don't, charge them up. Just make sure you pay them off in time. So,
Right.
so you can, because actually if you hold more than 30%, it actually hurts your credit every single month. So
Mhm.
every month it reports below 30%, you're going to get a couple points, it's going to
Right.
really help. So, so by all means, just make sure you pay attention to those dates.
Right. And then what are some other things people can do to build their credit? What are some other tips that you have for us?
Yeah. So, you don't need 9 million credit cards. I want to tell everybody that. I see so many counts, right? You don't need 9 million credit cards. You really only need a few. So
Right.
don't get crazy and make it manageable for yourself as far as the credit. Like come up with a system like I did where I know my dates, I know when I'm paying it off. So that's really important that you don't go too crazy with things. Just keep things manageable. There's a cheat code that we use too, and this is one of my favorites that I could share with people is becoming an authorized user on a credit card can do huge things for your credit. So, you know what, especially for those people that haven't really established much credit yet, there's not really a magic. This is about actually as magic as it gets for you getting your score up quickly because it's really a slow boat to China. None of us like how our credit works. We
Right.
don't make the rules. We just have to play by them. So,
Right.
you paying credit cards, I mean, we've all been there. My credit sucked at one point, we're young and
I
dumb.
think we
And
all have
then,
had crappy credit at some point.
yeah. And then you realize, oh man, I should probably this is, I don't know, my whole life and important. So I should probably do something about it. So, you make sure that you're paying your bills on time, doing what you need to do, but just paying credit cards and stuff, it takes time for that to build. So what you can do is if you have a family member, that's what I used when I was younger, or somebody you trust,
Sure.
you can actually have them make you an authorized user on the credit card. So, somebody, and the idea there is you want a credit card that has a long history, a big balance, and has always been paid on time. So here's
Okay.
my warning and disclosure. If you become an authorized user on somebody's credit card, the beauty of that is you gain that credit history, which is
Okay.
huge,
That's a big
but
deal.
for better
Yeah.
or for worse. So if so you got to be, that's why I say family or friends, somebody close, you really need to have understanding of what the history is, because
Right.
you could be taking on a worse history, which doesn't help you. So
Right.
ideally, you want to get on a credit card that has a great history, paid on time, a big balance on it. And I've seen people's credit scores jump through the roof on that. And,
Okay.
the conversation that I had, I got on my mom's when I was younger
Okay.
was, Mom, I don't need access to this credit card. I just want to just call them, tell them, hey, I want my son to be an authorized user. I have no interest in the credit card whatsoever.
Right.
Doesn't change anything. It takes 30 days to report, so you can't like rapid rescore those. So we're stuck to the system to
Sure.
have it report, but you become an authorized user, and then now that credit is now reporting on your credit, which can jump your score through the roof.
Okay.
I've seen 100 points from that alone. So
100 points. Is that what you said?
100, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like
That's
I'm
significant.
talking game changers, significant changes, and it happens very fast. Now, all of
Right.
us don't have the ability to do that, but if you are in that situation, it is a cheat code where you can get your credit score jump through the roof pretty quickly by obtaining somebody else's history because you don't have enough.
Right. Well, that's a great tip for people. I mean, granted, you have to have somebody that you trust and that trusts you. And the communication obviously needs to be involved, but that's a great way to get your credit score up. And these are conversations that's why it's so important. If you are considering about purchasing a home, start having these conversations with us early. Like there's so many people I talk to where, yes, interest rates have been high and they want to kind of take a break, or they don't know quite sure when they're going to be ready. But I have always encouraged any of my buyers, doesn't matter how far out they are from thinking that they want to buy, to go ahead and start having a conversation with Keelan, because having a little roadmap to be able to get your credit in the proper position, it might take you 3 to 6 months in order to kind of get everything lined up and as high as you can be. Because Keelan, one thing that I wanted to say really quick was, or ask you, talk with you about is, when it comes to FHA and conventional, what
Mhm.
credit score do you need to be at to be able to be at a conventional loan rate?
Ideally 720 and above. I mean,
Okay.
once you get into the low 700s with a conventional loan, it gets questionable at what's going to be the most cost efficient.
Okay.
So if you're in the high 600, it's pretty much FHA every time. And let me explain why.
Okay.
FHA loans basically have a great place. It's a fantastic product. If you can get into a home at any point, you're going to be better off. Even
Right.
if your credit's not perfect. So they have this program FHA where they say, hey, we're going to give you some forgiveness on your credit score,
Right.
because if you compare it to an FHA, or excuse me, a conventional loan, they're harsh. So they see that lower credit score, the interest rate's very high.
Right.
Where an FHA loan, it's a lower rate, so they don't ding you as bad, right?
Right.
So that's what I mean when you get to that lower part and see what makes most sense. The other thing a lot of people don't realize is mortgage insurance. So FHA gives you a break on mortgage insurance.
Okay.
Mortgage insurance, if you put less than 20% down, is required on all
Mhm.
loans. And they come up with a mortgage insurance, your cost based on the same things that we do in the loan, like your credit score, your debt to income ratio, all that
Mhm.
stuff. Again, if your credit score is lower, your mortgage insurance could be extremely high.
Right.
So it's situation is boss at what's a better program,
Mhm.
FHA or conventional, and just that's really kind of a blanketed area there.
Okay.
Like I said, every person's situation is different,
Right.
but if I had to put something on it, 720
Okay.
or below, most likely you're leaning. I've done quite a few conventional loans actually in low 700s,
Okay.
but
So,
most likely above 720. Every time you're going to go conventional.
right. Well, in conventional, you've got more flexibility with your loan program and your rate, right? Your
Yeah.
PMI is not going to be as high, correct?
Yeah, your PMI is not going to be as high. And then
Okay.
FHA loans have their mortgage insurance. You can't get out of it until you refinance.
Okay.
So
So
that's a
even if you've got the
downside.
20% down, you have to refinance in order to actually get that to drop.
So with a FHA loan, if you put 20% down, yeah, you're fine. You're good.
Okay.
But
But if
less
you're
than
building up to that is what I'm saying.
yeah, but if you have mortgage insurance, oh, are you saying if you want to get rid of the mortgage
Yeah,
insurance?
like if you've had your
Uh
FHA loan long enough and you've got 20% equity in there, it doesn't just
yeah,
automatically fall off. You've got
yeah,
to
no, it
refinance.
doesn't. Yeah, you're spot on. Sorry, I misunderstood you. Yeah, absolutely. I'm tracking with
I'm
you, my penny.
learning.
Yeah, I'm tracking with you. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're
yeah.
stuck with the mortgage insurance until you refinance, where a
Right.
conventional loan, you can drop it after 24 months
Okay.
without refinancing. So
Oh,
that's a huge thing.
so if you just
The
pay
difference.
extra principal or whatever, and all of a sudden you've got that equity, it falls off.
Yeah, I mean, naturally, you're paying your loan down, and homes are appreciating.
Right.
Even this year, believe it or not, even the media will tell you
A little
differently.
tiny bit, but it's still appreciation, right?
Yeah, it's somewhere around on track for 6% or something this year,
Yeah.
which is, I'll take it.
Right.
And so yeah, and then also FHA charges a funding fee, and it's built into the loan, but not my first choice based on that funding fee.
Right.
So a lot of first-time home buyers, they come to me and say, Keelan, I want to do that 3.5% FHA because they're just keeping their eye on the 3.5,
Mhm.
not knowing first-time home buyers conventional could do 3%.
Okay.
So there's actually an equivalent in a conventional, at least with our company, as a first-time home buyer, where you can actually put less down than an FHA loan. And speaking of credit, that it can be all the difference in the world. If I could get you into conventional loan as opposed to an FHA loan, you could save a boatload of money. Or even if you didn't get to the conventional loan, having a better credit score, even FHA is going to save you a ton of money. So just in setting yourself up for success, that alone is going to put you in a great position, a better position, and maybe save you more money than anything.
Right. So credit, and that I have people ask me all the time, what are rates right now? What are rates? And I can kind of quote the general information that we're all getting. But really, I tell everybody it really depends on your financial profile. It depends on your assets, how much money you have to put down, what your credit score is. And so that's why when you get, pre-approved for a home loan, it really is tailored to what your abilities are. So
Yeah, and they're tricky, especially online. Like if you look online, if you read the small print, like a lot of these companies are charging points. So you can actually invest money to buy your rate down. And
okay,
they'll quote like 2 points. And of course, it's like everything else, like the tiniest print ever
right,
right at the bottom. But you really have to read what you're looking at and not just look at the face value. Because not only are they giving you these probably almost undeliverable rates. Like you'd have to
right,
have like an 850 credit score, a boatload down on the smallest loan ever. And
right.
of course, it's advertising. That's what they're going to do, right? They're going to show you the best
Really, you
possible
in?
thing. Yeah, reel you in. And then kind of when you get in, oh, that's not for you because of X, Y, Z, insert excuse here, right?
Right, right.
So read the fine print. And yes, you're 100% right. It's a question I get probably more than anything. What's the rates today? And I'm like, oh,
Well,
like,
it's
I,
coming down.
yeah,
Right,
yeah,
rates
that,
have come down this week. Let's talk about that just really quick. So rates have been steadily dropping slightly, right? Like it is improving.
yeah, I'm so excited. I've been like I mentioned like optimistically, cautiously optimistic is what I
Right.
think I said, right? That we got to the peak of the mountain and we're on our way down. And I mean, it looks that way. I don't understand how the Fed's going to increase Fed fund rate on continue on this path. I just don't see it.
Right.
And we're up 39 basis points today. I mean, the main thing is before our new highs and lows were worse, and now our new highs and lows are better. So when we're trending per day
Okay.
and we're trading, we're everything is trending in the right directions. We're breaking, through different levels every single day in the right direction. That's a good sign that, indicators say that we've reached the mountain and our way back down, which I've been telling people this whole time. Now's the time to buy, people. Go out there as rates are way better than they were. And they're going to continue to get better. But the worst part about that, as they get better, homes are going to cost you more. There's
Well, it's going to
low
get
inventory.
competitive. It's gonna, and anybody that's listening, like I've been doing opens at really beautiful homes that I guarantee you these builders want to get this inventory off the books for 2023. So if you had your eye on something that's been on the market, new construction, or something that's been sitting for a little bit, I can almost guarantee you that they are going to want to put a deal together. And I think that after the holidays, I don't know what happened, some switch magically gets snapped. And as soon as like December 26th happens, everybody's looking for houses. It's like they're home after the holidays, Christmas is over, and they've got the bug to start looking for homes. And I don't know if January is going to be like what it has been in years past, but usually January is everything just all of a sudden accelerates. So now is the time. Listen to Keelan and I.
Absolutely. Yeah, especially I think now more than ever, because with low inventory where we're at, how it's going to get so competitive. I mean, you need to be preparing now to get into the market a month or 2 months from now. Like now is the time to get your credit fixed or whatever we need to do, right?
Yeah, so call Keelan and call me if you've got questions. Really, that's, we encourage you, we're here, we're resources for you, and we want to be there for you and help you be successful. I mean, buying a home is a game changer in your life, and it feels so accomplishing. I mean, it can be scary, and it's a lot to take on, especially as a single person. I've done it myself this year, but I'm so happy that we're here and we're ready and we're going.
Harry, you know what the interest rate of rent is?
What is the interest rate of rent?
100%.
That's right.
I mean, it's true. Why are you sitting there renting and worry about where rates are at when you're throwing your biggest chunk of change, your biggest bill you're throwing in lining somebody else's pockets,
Right.
A $500,000 house at 6% this crappy year, according to the media, that's 35 grand that we made this year for owning a home. So really, what are you doing? Get out there and buy a home and put your money back in your pocket. Or I think we're going to have a lot of step-up buyers coming here soon. People wanting to upgrade their homes and are just waiting for rates to go down.
Right.
So, I mean, I think the dam is gonna go. It's a question of when.
Right. Well, I'm excited to be able to, for us to be able to assess these changes as they happen. So again, if you've got questions about buying a house, selling a house, you want to know what your home is worth, give me a call. 206-330-6985 is my number.
Or you can call me at 206-321-4941.
So awesome. Well, this is all great news. I'm excited to be able to share this information with people. So Keelan, thank you so much for another awesome week. And I can't wait to see you again next week.
No, thank you. Me too. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. Take care.